Apple Gift Card is a practical gift that unlocks a world of entertainment and fun. You can send it via email or give a physical card to your loved ones. Your friends and family can spend it on their favorite Apple services, including Apple subscriptions. Apple Gift Card can be used to buy all things Apple. Products, accessories, apps, games, movies, TV shows, iCloud Plus, and more. Visit apple.com for details and to send Apple Gift Cards to your friends and family this holiday season.
Level up your listening with Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra earbuds and headphones. With immersive sound and world-class noise cancellation for a not-so-silent night. Visit Bose.com/Spotify to shop sound that's more than a present.
Hey, what's up? It's the ManFUzed Podcast. Kaylee here, my co-host Ben H. So today on the ManFUzed Podcast, we're going to weigh in on an email we got from a listener with an all too common problem when it comes to spending time with each other's families for the holidays. Why is there always so much drama around it? And we think we have identified one common denominator in all the drama. And let me just say, logic plays no part. We'll get to that in a minute. This is post-Thanksgiving.
Post-Turkey Day.
We hope from the ManFUzed Podcast, you and your family, your loved ones, gave thanks and had a great holiday with your family, friends, or whoever the fuck you wanted to spend it with. You might have noticed that last week we did not release a new episode. I did what was called a ManFUzed Podcast rewind.
Yes.
And so I rewinded this time last year, and it was, we got some requests for some of our bits or segments that people liked, and so I just did a rewind.
Yeah.
Ben and I, in all truth, recorded an hour and a half's worth of audio the week before last, which could have been a new episode, but as I started editing it, I was like, do people even fucking care? I mean, we talked an hour and a half about straight business stuff. And while if you are a business owner, great. I don't know what the percentages of business owners, entrepreneurs to, that mindset who listens to us, or if they just want to be entertained. And I was like, well, this is a behind the scenes conversation we're having in front for everyone to hear. I just didn't know if it was interesting. I just didn't know if I wanted to post it.
Well, really didn't get anywhere anyways, but it was interesting conversation.
The funny part that I wanted to get to was when you were like, everybody's saying, fuck you to me. I go here and they're like, fuck you, Ben. And I go here and I'm like, fuck you, Ben. And then you just went off on this tangent, not saying that it was funny that that's how you felt, but it was funny the way you were describing it.
Well, sometimes that's just how it be. You know what I mean? And
life does not always hand you roses.
Well, no, but you have to embrace everything that's going on and be grateful for everything that you're surrounded by, and ultimately, chart the course of action that's really best for you. I think that when life starts pushing back at you, you just have to recalibrate and say, all right,
good.
What's going to be the best course of action from here forward? Given my interests, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so, that's what you do. You just soldier on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just, maybe I'll post it at a later date. I just was like, God, I don't know. Because we've had a lot of business talk lately about, the stuff that you and I have been building and what we've been creating, what we have created. And I was like, well, I just don't know. I try to have a pulse. And like you said last week, you pointed something out. You're like 93 episodes. I didn't want it to not be fun. Other than your rant, there wasn't, much funny. And we're going to record more. We had other topics. We just didn't get to it.
Right. Well, hopefully the rewind was enjoyed.
Well, I think it was because it was a funny, there were some funny topics on that rewind. So check that out.
Funny things always happen during the holidays,
Oh, yeah.
It's a time of great humor.
Oh, it is.
Especially memories to look back upon. And you have to be grateful. Hopefully everyone in your family's doing well. If they're not, we're praying for them and so forth. But man, funny things happen during the holidays.
Man, it's that family dynamic.
At the height of frustration too. That's the funniest. Those are the funniest times.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know what it is. And actually, this is going to be because we got a letter from a listener. We didn't get to address it the previous week, but it did make me think. So they wrote to the ManFUzed Podcast. They needed some advice for the upcoming holidays. My husband and I have been together 3 years, and I'm going to tell this story, but it's really what this couple endures really is, I would say, universal when you start talking to couples, and then, the husband's parents are coming, and then the wife's parents are coming, and depending on how fucked up each family is, or that
there's always a rub too.
Oh, there's always. That's what I'm talking.
Especially if it's the husband's parents.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Well, let's hear this little letter.
With the wife's parents, it is too, but the man is just really expected to soldier through it.
Right. So here's what they said. Every year when the holidays come around, it leads to a huge fight because I want to spend half the day with my family and half the day with his family. I feel like this is a fair trade. I have a very strong dislike for his mother and also hate spending time at her house.
Yeah.
I have already let my family and my husband know we would be going to Thanksgiving this year. Well, on Monday, my husband texted me saying he would like to spend the entire day with his family. I told him we had already planned on going to both and I would not cancel because we only spent 30 minutes with my family last year. He got pissed off, told me I always make everything about me and we only do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, if we had it my way, we wouldn't have any communication with his family, and we would only see my family.
Yeah.
I felt like spending half a day with each family was a fair trade since we both strongly dislike going to the other's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We have this fight every year, and it's made the holidays miserable.
Yeah.
And I hear this. I feel like no matter what I propose, she says, he's mad if we have to see my family at all. And I'm like, I hear this all the time.
Yeah.
Now, granted, sometimes my wife is bitching about my family, and I don't know if that's just, she's just venting her frustration. I think, one part of my wife's, frustration is that her mom is no longer with us.
Yeah, that's tough.
So a lot of times there's this comparison to what her mom would have done versus what my parents are doing.
Right.
What her mom would have done if she was alive versus what my parents are currently doing or not doing.
Right.
And while her mom, I can't say enough good things about her. I mean, she lived in my basement for, God, I mean, I'm so bad with times.
Old basement dweller.
Well, no, she had an apartment. I mean, we had she had her own space.
It's
but
nice.
She was sick when she moved here or was in remission. And I
have to get a vape. Excuse me.
No problem. And there's nothing I could say. Like, normally you would think when I hear of mother-in-laws or, family members coming to live with you, normally I hear, like, I need that fucking person out of my house. Like,
sooner than later.
My wife's mom, like, I had never gotten an argument. She was cool as fuck. She was a great grandparent. She was a great, I mean, like, Erin, I mean, I would hang out with her mom sometimes when Erin wasn't even around because Erin wasn't into, I think it was Game of Thrones at the time. Well, her mom loved Game of Thrones.
And so did you.
And so did I. So I would come down to the basement.
Especially when the dragon lady came on the scene.
Spoiler alert.
She was rad.
Oh, yeah.
Rad.
She was hot.
She was hot and rad.
Oh, yeah. She liked to get mowed.
Cool.
So,
and she was a real woman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
So where are we going with this?
I'm just saying.
The
but there's a rub always when you hear about it.
Yes.
Is there a rub in your house?
Yeah, a little bit, but I try to just kind of like get past it as much as possible. And I think in terms of the listener here who wrote the letter, my proposition would be, hey, let's just do what we want to do. You go see your family. I will go see my family. That way, neither of us has to be in the unpleasant scenario of being with each other's family. And this, to me, sounds like somebody that lives, obviously, in the same town with both of their parents. For us, it's a little different because neither of our parents live here. They both live 5 hours away from here. So it's always a very special occasion when we get to go to their home or when they get to come to our home. Thankfully, we all get along very well. I mean, yes, there are little snags here and there. Mostly, if I'm being honest, and I have to be honest, mostly all of the snags, and I don't have to point out any one or two or three or four people, it always has to do with, wait for it.
What? But drum roll.
Women. It has to do with the women 100% of the fucking time. And I tell my wife this all the time. Okay? I go, I want you to just pay attention to the drama that's being discussed right now and understand that it has nothing to do with men. The guys get along. Even if we don't like each other, we still get along. Even if I hate your football team, I still watch your football game. I'm at your house. I drink your shitty beer. I fucking hang out. You know what I'm saying?
I deal with your fucking ridiculous comments or fucking perspectives.
Exactly. And I'm not even talking about my family because, to be completely honest with you, whenever we go to visit Alabama, Jen's stepfather and I are boys.
Right.
We're friends.
He's a cool dude.
He's a really cool guy. And then when we go to my home in Florida to visit my family, guess what? Me and my pops, we're friends, bro. We're boys. You know what I'm saying? We hang out. We smoke cigars. We drink whiskey.
So it's your
shit.
wife that's bitching.
Well, it's not just my wife. It's the dynamics that women create with each other. And I'm not saying it's my wife's fault. I'm not saying that
it is
my mother-in-law's fault or my mother's fault or whoever else is going to be involved in the situation. But I will say that it is the majority of the time the situation has to do with females. And let's just paint a picture of a situation that it's not the female, okay?
I can't think of one.
In the case of this letter, right?
Okay. And let's point out, I don't see anything about kids, which kids, if there was a kids dynamic, that makes it harder to just go your own way. Because both sets of family probably want to see the kid more than they want to see you
For
or
sure.
her.
Absolutely. But if you live in the same town, hey, no problem. You're going to be at your mom's house all day. You guys can have the kids until 1 o'clock.
Right.
I'm going to come pick the kids up, take them to Grandpa's house. We'll see you back at the house around 8 or 9.
But from what I see, no kids are mentioned, so it makes it easier to just go your own fucking way.
Hey,
we'll meet up at 8 or 9 o'clock.
We love each other. Don't have to love each other's parents, we don't have to love each other's family, and we don't have to have it become a problem for our relationship just because when I go over there, you treat me a certain way, or when you go over there, you get treated a certain way. And I know couples that have this problem, and it's typically with
the women.
Wait for it.
The women?
Mom and wife.
Right.
Mom and wife.
It's either mother-in-law or mom.
Or mom.
Right.
And wife.
It's always, you're right. It's we're not
always that way.
Yeah,
Always
because dudes are like, I only have to be with them for a few hours. Like, I can fucking just
let's
chill.
Let's just say this, because this guy's saying, hey, I don't like going over to your parents' house either. Well, I wonder why. I wonder why he doesn't like it. I guarantee you, I would be surprised. Let's say it like this. I'd be surprised if it was because of the way that he was treated by her father.
Oh my God, no.
Do you think that he doesn't like going over there because of the way that her dad treats him?
Unless her dad is like Meet the Parents, Robert De Niro.
Which could be the case. I'm just saying. But even still, Meet the Parents, Robert De Niro, I would have had fun with that guy.
Oh, my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he would have been fucking with me like that? I would have
had fun with him.
Oh,
I would have
yeah.
had a great time.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a funny movie. So,
right.
Point being, they ended up becoming boys.
Yes.
In the end.
Right.
And how he was poking at the guy for being a nurse and stuff. That was hilarious.
Oh, my God. It was
hilarious.
So funny.
You know what I'm saying?
But it also takes, Ben Stiller in that movie played this, like, straight pussy of a dude.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean, like,
exactly. And nothing wrong with, like, being a nurse if you're a dude.
No, I'm not even talking about his profession.
And then this other guy's like a CIA op. He's like James Bond.
But just
James Bond.
But just the camera angle on the first introduction when they get out of the car and Robert De Niro's on the like second step and the camera angle pans down at Ben Stiller and he looks all small. So small. And he's like, "Oh, did you choose that color of a car?" No, I didn't. Oh, because you would have been genius if you would have people pick green. Like,
that's right. Yeah, he just they're the double entendre.
Oh my God. Yeah.
All over the place.
But that being said, I'm not saying that dynamic doesn't happen, but I think guys, like, if you're treating the daughter well, most dads are going to be accepting of it. I mean, I would think, but you're right. I would say 90, if you look and had a lens on all these dynamic issues, I'd say it's the fucking woman.
Typically it's the women. Yes.
It's the women.
The women are the ones.
And I'm not trying to.
I mean, what do you say when you say, "Hey bro, you want to go do something for," who do you got to ask?
The women.
Now, nothing's going on. Nothing. She's got nothing planned. There's nothing on the calendar. You don't really have to ask permission to see if there's anything on the calendar. You're asking to see if you're allowed to go. Because otherwise, the hell that you're going to have to deal with, because there's going to be something magical that's just going to magically appear on the calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Something that she was planning on doing. A way that she had imagined things going. And this is part of the problem. Okay? Part of the problem is the difference between how you imagine things to be versus how they are. Or how you imagine things will go versus how they go.
Because, that's all about setting expectation.
Right.
Because if that's how you get disappointed. When you expect a certain result.
Exactly.
Or a certain way, and it doesn't go that way,
right,
you're disappointed. Same with putting together a deal. You get so excited about the possibility of the deal.
Sure.
You can imagine at the closing table, taking out your Mont Blanc pen, signing the doc,
100%.
getting a $100,000 check.
Yeah.
You can smell it.
Yeah.
You can taste it. And then...
especially when you're going through the motions of it.
Yeah, and then it all falls apart.
Yep.
And you're fucking bummed.
Right.
And so that's why you start to train yourself on a business side. And I think, I'm not going to say all women, but all women, but men too, don't fixate on your imagination of the fucking result or the day, because that's how you set yourself up for disappointment and you can't maneuver.
Or it's also how you set up your significant other
for failure, for
constant failure, no matter what the outcome is. If you put your stake in the ground of imagining a scenario which is impossible, okay? Right. The scenario that you imagine is so far off from the way it really is. And what do? We get so beat up by this constant barrage that we literally try. We try to actually create it. You know, we try, oh my God, if I could just match her expectation with reality.
No.
And it never works.
Yeah, this isn't a fairy, because it's not
because
a
of the way
fairy.
that she's acting. Or
Right.
she said I could pull this out earlier than I do it. My mom kept it in longer, and so that's the way that I do it. And my mom's not here to defend herself. And so, I mean, dude, and it could just go on and on and on for just a constant misery. And guess what? At the end of the day, the question becomes, does it just make you happy to create chaos?
Yes.
Does it just make you happy to be unhappy? Because we all know that you could, if you so desired, and you know this too, women, you know how to make the situation happy. You know how to act nice. You know how to be grateful.
You know how to not let stupid comments that would never bother me get under your skin.
You know what you're doing. And we know that you know.
I see you, see me, see you.
Exactly.
Right.
I got the fucking beat on this shit. You
Oh my
had
God.
me for a little while, but now I see what y'all motherfuckers are doing. And guess what? I still don't understand it.
Yeah. And we're not trying to bash women.
Maybe a little bit.
No, well, I mean, we're just
not in general.
But no, we're just calling it like it is. And I'm not saying all women act like this, but I would say if I had to that's why the Real Housewives, all that petty, catty shit, even though a lot of it I'm sure is made up and scripted, is so popular.
Oh, yeah.
Because women secretly want to hate other women.
Dude, it's like the WNBA.
Right, of course.
The WNBA.
Why aren't there women getting paid the same amount? Well, because you ain't supporting.
They don't watch the WNBA.
And there are some very talented women in the WNBA.
I can't even name the team.
Oh, I can't either. I can only name
one
I can
player
name
except the lady that got arrested in
Russia.
And
Yeah,
I still don't remember her name. Brittany Grimes.
Brittany Grimes.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the only WNBA player that
She
I
put
know.
WNBA on the map for us.
And I kind of liked it, especially when she got released, not when she was being held. But I kind of liked it because she was all woke this, woke that. She was all like F America. You know, she was all like kneeling during the flag and all this kind of stuff. Like she was this like anti-American
and
democracy.
let's point out that Ben is a veteran, so he has served his country. So that is a slap in the face and a kick in the balls.
Well, I just think that if you this is a completely different subject, but the reason why I liked it is because a lot of
want
these
America now, don't you?
A lot of these people who dislike America or dislike our way of life, but they've never known anything else.
Oh, she got
They've
a taste
never
of that.
seen anything else. They've never been outside of their hometown. She got a little taste of what it's like to be outside of America,
begging for America.
With a vape pen.
It was a bunch of them, wasn't it?
I don't know how many it was, but she got caught with some vape pens.
And they used her as a political tool.
Oh, and she got thrown in Russian frickin' labor camp.
Yeah. And I mean, she was
possibly forever.
She was begging for America.
Begging for America. Now she waves the flag. She says the Pledge of Allegiance. She kisses the ground. And she's probably going to vote for Donald Trump. I mean, she's been converted. How do you go from Biden to Trump? Get thrown in a Russian prison.
Yeah. And
where you can't be, where they can't get you out.
Right. And they're like, oh, let's do an appeal. No.
Sorry, we don't really care.
Yeah.
No, but I voted for you.
And what did they give her? What was the initial sentence? It was like 18 years.
Yeah, it was brutal. And then the problem is, once you're in the system, whatever your initial sentence is.
Oh, they'll charge you
once you're in. Oh, what did you say?
5 treason. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they'll have you there your whole life.
Right. Or they'll use it to, trade, and they'll
look at Julian Assange.
And how long was the United States like, oh, we're going through back channels to try to get her out, and Russia's like, no, because they know if they drag it out a little longer. Of course. Anyway, getting back on that subject, how did we spin that way? It was
well, we had a letter And
no, I know that, but we're talking about, we're talking about just the chaos that is created, and why it's created. And I have to deal with it
and how to tamp it down.
She won't. She won't.
Just tamp it down.
Yeah, she won't. It's like, it's constant. And I'm not going to point out any exact things, but I very little fire off. Anything about, about like bringing my wife's family into it. I like everybody on my wife's side when I get to see them.
You're a man.
That's true. And they're men.
You have found something that you like about them, and you choose to focus on that.
Correct.
Sure, there may be things that you dislike about them, but
which I don't.
You keep whatever that is out of it. Focus. There's probably things they dislike about you too. We all know this. We're all people. People judge. It's how we are. It's called being an adult. There's going to be things you like about people. There's going to be things you don't like about people. Focus, if you want to get along,
right,
on the things that you do like about them. Compliment them on the things that you like about them.
And
ask
also
them questions about the things that they're good at.
Right. And also, when you get to know someone's family, obviously the husband has talked about his childhood and, maybe he had a good childhood. Maybe he had a rocky childhood. Don't prosecute things that somebody did in the past, not to you.
Yeah.
Now, and especially if the husband or that family member has made amends and has moved on. You don't need to throw that up. Your dad did this to your mom, or your mom did this to your dad. And
that's a pretty significant wound for me. Thank you for bringing it up.
But no one's perfect.
No,
and no one has the same journey.
No, but everybody has good qualities and bad qualities. You can focus. It's hard to do, but it's a reflection of ultimately how we talk to ourselves. That's the scary thing about it. It's the way that we treat others, especially the way that we treat those we love, is more akin to the way we treat ourselves than anything else. It's a reflection of how we treat ourselves. And there's a bigger picture there, which is that, we only get so much time. We're not going to ever arrive at this place where everything's right. This is our life. This is the moment. This is our timeline. This is the story. This is the book. And so you can choose to look at things, to see the things and appreciate the things that are there, rather than to look at and be wanting of and desperate for and have a problem with the things that are not there. You have a choice. Focus on what is there and be grateful for it, or focus on what's not there.
It's a great point.
And be ungrateful.
And that goes really in anything.
For everything. Because here's the thing. Wherever you put your focus, and unfortunately you can't put it in both places, covers the other thing up. So if I focus on what's not there, and I'm ungrateful for it, and I'm pissed off, that makes me ungrateful and pissed off at everything that is there. It bleeds over, right? Likewise, if you focus on what is there and you are grateful for it and you are, appreciative of it, and you look how great things are, that also bleeds over.
It's like you can't...
and covers up the other side.
It's like you can't be mad and laugh hysterically at the same time.
No.
I mean, you can't. No, because because if you could be pissed off, and it could be the most trivial thing, or it could be something important. But then if you see something that makes you fucking belly laugh, you're not in a bad mood anymore.
No, like if you see somebody kind of trip and fall.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude.
Obviously they didn't get hurt, but especially like if they're trying to show off.
Yeah. So and Ben, those are all great points, and I don't know why. So ladies, we're not bashing you, but you know what? Sometimes you're the problem, and sometimes we're the problem. But in this case, Ben has a point, and I think I agree that chaos is something that women love.
Yes. Drama.
Ah,
Focusing on what's not there.
don't do it for your husband's sake, for your sake. But anyway, we could talk about men and bash ourselves because we're fucking idiots too.
Yeah, but I'm comfortable with the fact that
I'm an idiot.
I'm not right.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
comfortable with the fact that I fuck things up.
But you know what? But we can get along with anybody.
I forget things. I do. I leave shit everywhere.
Yeah.
It's okay with
You're a fucking Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I get it. Would I prefer to leave things everywhere? No, not necessarily. I don't prefer it.
Your wife probably would you probably have less, she'd have less to bitch at you.
I have accepted that this is
you.
I still love me.
And you should. And you should.
I still love me. I love it when I have to go back in the house,
8 times.
I love it when I go to lunch to take somebody out and I don't have my wallet.
See, when I do that and my wife, we go out and I'm like, fuck, I forgot my wallet. She thinks I did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would I do that?
She's like, you cheap bastard.
Yeah, seriously. Like I have this thing like I would do that. Well, I guess maybe my wife, and I've been guilty of this before. Like, sometimes I won't, if I know, and I've talked about the situation where I'm going out with people and they always pay and they have a lot more money than me. And normally they pay.
Yeah, like
and
no
I
boo.
just like my dad, like I wouldn't even reach for my wallet. And I just was like, fuck that gesture.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, you cheap fuck. But no, so I'm going to end it and we can switch subjects because there's a lot to cover, actually. So I was driving to Best Buy today, and I pull up to the light at this intersection. I look over to the left, and I'm talking to my wife on the phone, and there is a body on the park bench or on the bench right on the corner.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the dude had his head zipped up in his coat because he looked like a headless fucking body just sitting at the thing. And he had a walker in front of him.
Oh, my gosh.
But it almost looked like a stuffed thing. I'm like, I look over, I'm like, holy shit, there's a headless fucking dude.
Yeah.
That made me laugh.
Yeah.
And I don't think he literally lost his head.
He's just cold and homeless and sitting on a park bench
which I thought was funny. I don't know. I mean,
that's pretty horrible of you.
Yeah, I know. I felt like a dick.
You're
after.
a horrible person.
But it did make me laugh because I was like,
you're like, haha, look at that guy out in the cold.
No, I was like, dude, there's a headless fucking guy over there. I'm like trying to make it out.
Headless man.
Is this a guy with his head tucked in his coat and zipped up because he's cold, sleeping on the bench? Or is that a fucking headless body? Couldn't tell. Didn't see any blood. Ben, there is something that I heard this audio, and I don't know, and then you have audio. We're going to talk about sounds that make us and sounds that piss us off. This was daunting when I heard this, and it was so funny, but so damaging, maybe. And maybe, I don't know how you could be even more damaged, actually, after the events that unfolded around these celebrities. Did you see the news that came out about Will Smith?
Oh, yeah.
From his former friend.
Yeah, it was graphic, too.
We have to discuss it. It was so graphic that it had me dying laughing.
I mean, this was a first-hand account. Somebody just getting railed.
Right, but hold on.
Railed by another man.
Oh, my God.
This Will Smith thing just keeps going.
It sounded like a money grab. Like, why would you come out with this now? I mean, it sounded like a deal gone bad.
It's just such a graphic statement.
Oh my God, it was so fucking funny.
It's just such a statement that why would you even say something like that if it wasn't true? And I guess that's part of the strategy. Say something so bad that no one could possibly think that it was untrue.
Well,
and therefore that's a pretty good
such
way
a detailed account.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like, okay, you're not going to pay me what I'm worth, or you're not going to give me money for that. And
Well, it's also now bled into other celebrities as well, which we could talk to after. Let's hear.
You looked at my Instagram, you see the hundreds of celebrities that I've done business with, done things with.
And who is this?
This is his best friend of 40 years. So he
Duane
says.
something.
I was around before they had Trey. Jada was the woman that everybody wanted, and Will needed that validation to have that type of woman.
You saw her say that Will Smith had a small dick?
Oh, I am saying to you, if a woman is used to something the size of a baby leg and you come in with a pinky toe, there's nothing you can do to please her. You can buy her 80 cars, you can get her 80 private jets. If she's itching for that baby leg, she want that baby leg. You can beat a person so much that they fall into submission.
And who needs enemies when they got friends like you?
I could tell you what goes on the inside. Everybody else is just speculation.
Somebody told me I made my pictures in the book. Your picture's in the book and your name is in the book. So it's like you're doing some real elegant pimp. I'm blowing you up. I love that. I'm blowing you up.
This is what Jada makes the new people do. And I ain't gonna say new, they probably been there after myself, right? They will make you check into a rehab. And they'll pay for the rehab. Even though you're not on drugs, they're gonna pay for the rehab. And you have to go if you want to work with them. And then I've saw sexual acts that I walked in on.
Who'd you walk in on?
Him and Duane Martin.
Have you heard this, man?
Okay.
Hollywood is the hurry up and wait game. So 3 minutes later, after them telling me, hey, you got eyes on Will, we need him to come watch this. So I'm running all over the studio. He's not in his dressing room. I go to the cafeteria. I'm like, but I see his car there. I'm like, where's this guy at? So now I'm holding Duane down too. So I have the keys to his dressing room. So I'm like, yo, and they're calling I'm on walkie-talkie and they're calling my cell phone. Yo, we need to get Will here. I'm like, yo, kind of fuck down. Like, I'm trying to find this is unlike him, right? So, all right, I open the door to Duane's dressing room, and that's when I see Duane and having anal sex with Will.
Let me process that for a second.
There was a couch, and Will was bent over on the couch, and Duane was standing up, killing him. Like murder. Murder in there.
Murder. God.
Okay.
Even when I was with the deer and headlights, and I finally said, oh shit.
Holy shit. I mean, what
an account of just life and debauchery.
Yeah, and someone getting murdered on the couch.
Well, the part that it was even crazier than that was talking about how people like Jada, put you in a mental institution and pay for it.
But for what? I still don't understand why. Like what?
Or drug rehab. And
but he didn't even get into why. For what reason?
Well, it's kind of like what we're talking about. I mean, it's just control.
As I was saying it, I was like, oh, so they want blackmail. They want to have something on you.
Yeah.
So they could be like, at any point, we helped you through a fucking mental institution.
Or, hey, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go check into a rehab program for the next 30 days. I'll see you in 30 days.
Right. So therefore, if you ever try to fuck us, I'm going to put out there, everybody, don't hire him because he's a drug addict. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, well, I heard a story the other day, and I'd never heard it like this. I mean, you've heard about how Dave Chappelle walked away from $50 million.
Of course.
Everybody's heard that
for
story.
Mental health, because Comedy Central, it was fucking with him.
Right.
And it was just, the show was...
So Cat Williams just came out and told the story of what really happened. Dave Chappelle had a contract, I believe Comedy Central or whoever it was.
That's where the Chappelle show was on.
So whoever he had a contract, I don't know if it was Warner. I don't know if it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know
who owns that.
Right. Whoever the contract was with, though, it was for half of the revenue that he generated. And he generated $500 million. He made $500 million with the Chappelle Show for the network. Contract dictated that he was to get, half of that, roughly around a couple $100 million. And they said, no, that's too much. They said, even though the contract says that's too much money, we'll give you 10%. So 10% of 500 million, that was the 50 million. And he said, there's no way I'm taking 10%. That's not fair. I'm going to fight you guys on it. What do you think all my fans are going to think when they hear about this, of what you've done? And he said, by the time you get back to Ohio, your fans are going to think that you're a crackhead and that you were under mental duress and that you had to be put into a mental institution.
So Cat Williams was in support of Dave Chappelle. He wasn't like bashing like Dave Chappelle.
No, he was saying that that's what happened.
Well,
he made $500 million. He was due a couple $100 million.
Right.
They said, no, that's too much money. We're going to give you 50. And then that's why he walked on it. But to this day,
he's never spoken about it.
It probably because he can't. And what do you think? You think it was because he was under mental duress that he had to quit.
But why couldn't he? Obviously didn't take their deal, so why would he be under a non-disclosure?
I don't know what the contract said, but it probably has a lot to do with what the contract said. His easiest route would have been to take the 50, right? He decided that he was going to fight him. And I mean, dude, apparently, like Kanye's come out and said, these contracts are vicious. What happened to Dave Chappelle? Like, a lot of people have come out and said, look what happened to Dave Chappelle, the way that these contracts were written.
What do you mean that's too much?
If I did a deal with you and I said, all right, you refer me real estate business, I'm going to pay you 25%. And you referred me $150 million deal, right? And I made $3.5 million. And 25% of that was like $900,000.
And you're like,
and I was like, it's just too much, bro. I'm gonna give you 100 G's. Here's 100 G's. Thanks for the referral. You signed right here 25%.
Right. And especially, too,
and of course, in that case, you would fight it and you'd probably win because you'd have the referral agreement, which is very simple. It's a very simple contract and agreement that just says, hey, you refer it, blah, 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 you get 25. So that kind of shit doesn't happen because...
But these networks are fucking...
The way the contract is written, it prevents you from pursuing any legal action as a result of any conflicts that may come up in the future between me and you based on the amount of money that we pay you.
But
you could say that in a little clause.
But that's where your attorney you should be overlooking that contract before you sign it.
And you would also have to foresee the idea of, hey, we need a clause in here that protects you if after you make the money that your percentage cut that is defined here, a lot of times it's just the lack of vision on the behalf of the person that's signing the contract because you don't think people are going to do you like that.
Right.
You don't think you're going to end up in these kinds of situations.
And I can't put myself into Dave Chappelle's shoes, but I would imagine Dave Chappelle getting his own show. You know, you're excited.
Yeah.
It's like these music artists and these labels.
And it was an amazing show.
Oh, my God.
One of my favorite shows ever.
It was like an In Living Color. It was one of those shows, this sketch comedy, and it was controversial.
And then you see the numbers coming in and you're like, I am next level. And so then you're putting more energy to your work.
Oh, my God.
Because you see all the numbers coming in and then you get told, no.
And you are the creative vision.
Those aren't your numbers.
And you're not only the creative vision, but you're the one working your ass off to make that happen.
It's not 50-50, it's 90-10.
And all they're doing is letting you be on their network, essentially. Well, I mean, there is production.
Well, and so that's where he got into is he was like, that's basically a form of slavery is what he came to. He's like, that is just a different form of the same thing.
Well, there's a lot of that. If you look at any employee-employer relationship,
absolutely,
where the employee is dependent, and all employees are dependent on their money.
That's right.
But dependent to an extent that they will take abuse.
Yeah.
And more work for the same amount of pay.
Absolutely.
And threats, security of your financial being held over your head.
Well,
is a form of slavery. Working a 9-to-5 for money is slavery.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. And not only that.
I mean, we're all slaves.
The biggest form of slavery, which overarches everything, is debt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no,
we are
totally.
all a slave to debt. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you have a 9-to-5 job, these are just different ways of you dealing with whatever debt you have decided to bring into your life.
And we are in no way comparing our debt or slavery to debt to the hardships and slavery of African American. Like that's not.
No, absolutely not. Or any slavery. I mean, there's still slaves today.
Yeah,
it's not
human
talked
trafficking.
about. It's not discussed, but sure. I mean, all slavery, but this is a form of slavery. It is a form of authoritarianism or whatever that we opt into, which is very interesting. See, I never understood this until I myself got into debt.
Yeah, I've been in debt. I've filed bankruptcy before. I've bit off way more than I can chew. And, but it was a learning experience. I filed, was it fucking chapter 13? I don't even know, which was a bad moment in my life. I never wanted to not pay my debts. I always pushed it off for so long because I am the one that signed for that debt.
Yeah.
I am obligated to it. And I never wanted to take that route until things that I was working towards were not paying off. And then I started a family and then they started garnishing my wages. I'm like, you can't fucking do that.
So that's another example of something that is special about America. Bankruptcy laws. In China, they'll just throw you in jail for the rest of your life. Debt is something that will bury you and destroy your life if you let it get out of control. So we have the bankruptcy laws, which allow you to say, look, I'm sorry, I can't fucking do it. And then you legally can get a judgment that says, yeah, you're fucking done with this guy. That's a pretty incredible stroke in the favor of the sovereign individual to say, hey, no, corporation. They have protection against you even after they've signed the dotted line, even after they've spent the money, even after they've done those things. That commitment or lack of performance on that commitment is not more important than the present moment of this living individual. That's what the bankruptcy laws say. So some countries, you get into debt, you can't pay your shit. There are no bankruptcy laws. They're coming after you.
Because I brought the subject up, let's weigh in on what you think, on what I think of the audio we just played. There have been things coming out about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett for years.
Yeah.
About their...
Well, he slapped Chris Rock.
Right. Their situationship, whatever the fuck it is. Will Smith taking it in the ass. True? False?
Probably true, dude. I mean, probably
You don't
true.
think that this sounds like a disgruntled employee, like being like, fine, I'm going to fucking...
Pretty disgruntled.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to be pretty damn disgruntled to come up with an account like that. But yeah, sure. I guess that's a possibility too. I mean, I guess we don't know, so I have to consider both possibilities.
But if you had to guess, it's just like a girl coming out and saying you harassed her, like, or if you were a celebrity or whatever, and she wanted to ruin you.
Yeah.
Who would say that, right?
Coming out about a lot of these guys, man. I mean, like I said, this has spurred talk about other celebrities like P. Diddy.
Oh, yeah, that's some fucked up shit, too.
About him going to like Turkish bathhouses and about his homosexuality and these parties they have, these sex parties. And there's talk about secret societies, even in high levels of politics, secret societies. Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein, the blackmail that occurred on Epstein Island where you would sleep with an underage girl and then they have it on camera and now they have blackmail against you. So now that they can control you. So now, they have to go back to America knowing that if they ever step out of line or don't follow orders, they're just going to get this tape released. And now we can't even get the flight records from the Epstein case. They have the flight records. They know who all the people. They will not release the names.
They too many higher ups.
They won't release the names.
But we do know. I mean, we know Clintons were on his plane or been to the island at some point.
So sex is just something that people do, and they use it against one another. And we all have insecurities, and we all have situations that we are proud
nipples,
of,
one testicle,
or not proud of,
a baby dick.
Yeah, and dude, I mean,
baby leg.
Yeah. So sexuality is a thing, but it's a way that people express themselves, and it's also a way that they destroy their lives. I mean, sex is a real.
But if you look back into like when you see shows like Spartan.
Yeah.
Remember that show that came on? It was at Spartan?
Yeah, the Spartan.
Think of all the sex parties and fucking, and all these cathedral houses where everyone's just fucking orgies. And it's like, but it wasn't looked down upon.
Right.
Like, it was like, oh, that's your fetish. That's your thing.
Right.
Feed your lust.
Right.
But now society has painted your sexual preference in a way and where this could ruin you. Now, granted, if you're having sex with kids, you should be fucking ruined. But
dude, the Western media is focused on destroying masculinity. This is just another story where masculinity is being destroyed. I mean, the zoomed out version of this is here's a guy who's weaker than his wife, who's being dominated by this woman. He's got a small dick.
Right.
She, and now he's taking it in the ass like
she's got
a little bitch.
He's got a small.
And this was the most badass motherfucker. Bad boys.
I am legend.
Legend. This is the baddest ass dude, and they're just destroying him. And so this is the destruction of masculinity. True or not true, it's happening all over the place. Look what they tried to do to the Tate brothers, dude. Threw them in jail, completely false charges, the whole thing.
Right.
Right? I mean, anything that the left, anything that the media, the woke ideology can do to destroy masculinity, they're doing it. And this, to me, is just an example of that. Does the guy like taking it in the ass? I don't fucking know, and I don't care, bro. If he does, good for him. Hopefully he and his wife have some sort of an agreement or something. Right. I don't know. Hopefully, not my business, bro.
Hopefully he likes getting murdered.
Listen, he's married. As long as she's cool with it and he's cool with it, it don't fucking matter to me, bro.
But he's like a beat-up puppy dog at this point.
That's what I'm saying.
But then you have Jada coming out and going, well, Will wasn't my first choice.
Exactly.
Tupac had a baby leg.
The destruction of masculinity. Destruction of masculinity. Now what's every guy thinking? Oh, I wonder if I was my wife's first choice. And
probably not.
I'm just saying, I mean, so this is the whole idea. These stories have, to me, whether it's planned this way or not, to me, these stories represent larger messaging, larger issues that exist in society where what do you need in society?
But hold on,
you need strong men.
Right.
Okay.
But let's look at
strong men hold society together.
But let's look at the picture here. Regardless if this was a money grab, you have somebody that worked and was best friends with this person. Now, releasing this information, whether it be because you feel the truth needs to come out.
Right.
Or maybe there was a backdoor deal.
Yeah.
I just noticed I said backdoor.
Yeah.
Where you didn't get what you want, but now you're releasing this. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Obviously, it's to hurt Will Smith. Obviously, there is something that happened between that friendship, whether it be maybe it was a deal gone bad, maybe somebody didn't get what they feel they deserved. Maybe it's made up. Maybe it's true.
Right.
You are purposely intending to try to hurt him with this information.
Absolutely.
Whether it's true or not.
Would it be a money grab? Because the network can pick it up, because it's going to get a bazillion plays, because ultimately, once again, this is a storyline of something that is being popularized through the media, which I think is leftist and I think is woke.
They just want the drama. They want the tea.
Exactly. And that version, it's ridiculous shit. And the ridiculous things, sex sells. Why is this whole idea of trans so popular? Because it's confusing. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Doesn't make sense to you. To some it does.
No, and that's cool. Why does it have to gain the level of attention that it does? Why does it have to be so brazenly ridiculous?
Because there are a lot of homophobic people that care, that are not focused on themselves and their own lives, and they're focused in on the why should these people have rights? Because they're fucking people.
Well, sex sells, but then where does it stop? Does it stop with the kids? Should kids be allowed to go to drag shows? Should parents be allowed to take their kids to drag shows? I'm talking little kids. So why not?
Well, I guess if mommy or daddy or he or she or him or they or what work at a drag show, then it's your kids sometimes have to go to work with you.
So these are the lines where the battle is fought, but I'm talking drag shows that are being held in the public library. What about the ones that are being held in the church?
Wait, there's drag shows at the public library?
Yeah, for kids. What about the ones that are being held in elementary schools? Should parents be upset if their kid is sent to a drag show as part of what they're doing in school? They go to a big auditorium and they see a drag show, or they're going to a book reading and there's a transvestite.
Well, if Mrs. Doubtfire is reading at a fucking library, that's funny as shit.
Well, it was funny. Now it's not funny anymore.
Well, I still think it could be funny.
I think it's funny that he dressed up as a woman so that he could see his kids. I mean, the whole idea was ridiculous. It was funny. Now it's like, oh, yeah, that's okay, actually. It's okay for kids to be exposed to this level of sexuality at a very early age. They passed a law in California where your kid can get taken away from you if he goes to his school counselor and says, hey, I'm trans and my parents don't accept that. They'll take you. The state of California will take you from your parents. Take your kid away. If they come home and they say, hey, I know I've been a boy. I know my name is John. Now I want to be called Janie. And
my parents aren't down with it.
Now that's a form of child abuse. And now the state is going to step in and they're going to take your child. And they can get a gender reassignment surgery under the state control without your permission.
For me, on that level, and I don't even want to go down this wormhole too much, but it depends on the age of the kid. Because I do think that there are some parents that are very stuck in their ways. And when you have a boy, you assume going into parenthood that the girl or the gender of
course.
That's what you expect. You envision a boy, like you see your son now, and you're like, man, you can't help but picture the future. Oh, he's going to marry, he's going to meet a girl one day. You want that for him because that is your outlook and perspective.
Yeah.
That's what you have done. And
Sure.
you want your kids. So it's not happened to me yet, but I could imagine the shock. There again, that vision of what you want for your child turns completely on its head.
Yeah.
And it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And so for some parents...
No, I've seen it happen. It happened in my family.
Right. But exactly. And we have to call out that your sister is a bisexual, or I don't know if she's full lesbian now. I don't know if she has made that coming out distinction.
Well, I
know
she's only really been interested in girls for a pretty long time. So.
Right. So she's probably officially more of a lesbian now. Or it doesn't even matter what her title is.
These people who, not necessarily gay or lesbian, but when we go to trans, you're talking about changing your sexual identity, or you want to be called a girl even though you're a guy. You want to be considered a woman. Sorry, that's not reality.
Well, let me ask you a question.
You can't just cut your penis off and now you're a girl. You can't compete in women's sports. You can't just switch. You can't just think you're a girl now. Now you can go play softball. You can go from the boys' baseball team and the boys' locker room to the girls' softball team and the girls' locker. No,
right.
That is fucking bullshit.
I don't agree with that either. Let me ask you a question, though.
But that's what's happening.
Yes, that is happening and does happen. So I work with the Burt Show, and there are proud lesbians that I work with, and bisexuals, and they're my colleagues, they're my friends, I support them. I guess you could say I'm an ally to them because I don't care. They're awesome people. And you know what? I've been to gay pride, I've been on a float, and it's a great time.
Absolutely.
Your sister, now and I've learned throughout these past few years, there are many subcultures in the LGBTQ community.
I'm not saying that anyone doesn't deserve
but
love.
and I'm not either, and I'm not saying you are. I'm wondering how your sister, do you have these conversations with her? Because there are Some
Yeah, I have.
there are lesbians people who are they call themselves lesbians. At one point they were bi. Sometimes tell these stories about how bisexuals are looked down upon from true lesbians. Like, you're not really a lesbian because so there are these hierarchies, or I don't even know if that's the word. And so I'm curious as to your sister's take on the LGBTQ community. And I'm sure she's probably like you, all for one, one for all, do what the fuck you want, yada, yada, yada. You ain't bothering my life. But I'm curious, like, have you had these conversations and, with your sister?
Yeah, I mean, over time I have. And I think that, her opinion is that, all these people, regardless of how they orientate themselves or whatever it is that they want to do, that they deserve love. And I agree with that. And that's fine. I haven't had a lot of conversations with her recently, to be completely honest, since I began as a fan, let's say, of Donald Trump, right? When he first started running. And I thought that it was just good. I thought it was just the best thing in the world.
I did appreciate, and some people were offended by his
But I'm just saying,
categorizing certain people.
I had no idea how it was going to become this just absolute polarization. I didn't know. I didn't realize.
I did appreciate he didn't give a fuck. It sounded like he was saying whatever he thought. Yeah. Well, and he's not an honest guy. I don't think he's an honest guy, and I don't think he tells the truth.
Yeah.
But it was so polarizing because you never heard people come out and say shit like he said it. It was like almost like this guy says it the way it is. And he might on some notes, but then he's going to lie like a motherfucker on 90 other, titles.
I don't know. I guess it depends. I mean, you have to point out to me where he lied.
I think all of them lie.
People say exaggerations. I could say, yeah, dude, I'm like the best driver in the world. Right. And okay, I lied. I'm not really the best driver in the world. Right.
We all exaggerate. Everybody, hey, I caught a fish that was this big. Right. No, really, it was fucking.
No, actually, you didn't.
You didn't. Really. But for the story's sake, it does sound better.
But it was a lie. Now you're a liar. But the point is that really
agree to disagree.
That really, I mean, I'm not saying that, but
my fish was fucking big. My cock's that big.
But I think that caused a great deal of separation. Whereas, I thought that everyone was going to love this guy. I thought everyone was just gonna. I thought it was gonna be a freaking love fest, dude. Boy, I could not have been more wrong. I mean, the level of hate for this guy and everything and everybody and just everything. I mean, there's a portion of the country that would just like to lock him and all of his followers in a jail cell and throw away the fucking key for no other reason than they just don't like him.
Oh, they want him stripped of everything.
Everything. And so to me, that in and of itself, I don't want to be a part of that group because I don't want to feel that way about anybody, right?
Right.
At the end of the day. But at the same time, I had no idea that the division was going to be that drastic.
Yeah, it was, because that's why we voted in a fucking shriveled up puppet.
And it still is. It still is. And I don't know if we voted him in or not. I mean, I'm still not completely on board with that story. Our conversations have become less and less political, whereas before that, our conversation was very, very much political, and we very, very much existed on the same side of things. So I think my sister thinks that everybody deserves to be loved, regardless of what they want to do with themselves. Whether or not she supports people who come out and say, oh, now I feel like a woman, so I can go play on the women's baseball or softball team. Because to me...
Or use the women's bathroom.
Right, because to me, if you're a feminist, like let's say you're a feminist, you're for womanhood, you're for women, right?
Which is fine.
Then you should be anti that, letting men step into women's sports and dominate women's sports by claiming to be a woman just because they feel like one, which in and of itself degrades womanhood more than anything.
Boom.
More than anything. You're taking away, because listen, you're taking away what it means to be a woman from women if you can just state that you are a woman and then go step into their athletic field, which is where the best of the sex compete.
Right.
And win with a dick.
Big hands and an Adam's apple.
Yeah. Yeah.
Giant.
You're not a woman. You're not born a woman. You can't compete against my daughter. You can't take the ability for my daughter to get first place away. You can dress however you want to dress. You can be called Michelle if you want. I could fucking care less who you want to sleep with. I don't care if you think you're a woman or a frog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Ribbit.
It doesn't matter to me. I mean, really, I still love you anyway.
You will not take the WNBA
Yeah.
of
What would happen if LeBron went into the WNBA?
That's a huge bitch.
Yeah, yeah. He would just dominate. It wouldn't even be fair, you know. With Will Smith, I mean, to me, it's just another story where a dude is just getting dragged.
He's had a bad couple of years.
I don't know what he did or who he pissed off, but he said, you'll never fuck me up. And they'll say, oh, we could fuck you up more than you think.
We'll even get you so mad you'll pimp slap somebody on national TV.
You know, I don't know. This whole deal with the devil thing is creepy. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched these interviews. Like Bob Dylan said he did a deal with the devil.
I think even something about Lady Gaga coming out.
A lot of these people have really proclaimed that, yeah, I did a deal with the devil. And part of it is that you're going to get the fame, but as much as you get it, it's also going to be stripped away from you in the same lifetime. Like, you're going to get all the way built up and all the way destroyed.
You're going to be celebrated, and then you're going to be hated. And then you're going to be, you just said it, fame is the devil. I mean, it really is.
Absolutely.
And it's a dopamine hit. You think about it. It's just like,
Dude, look at Christmas. Santa. Satan.
Okay, well, if we have any kid listeners, like, I love Santa.
I do too, but I'm just saying it's kind of weird how the same, like, where did we even come up with that name? Like, what is Christmas anyways? Oh, it's the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Christian. You believe in Christ, you believe in the birth of Christ. It's the gift to the world of the salvation is the gift from God that you can be forgiven for your sins, right? That's the gift from God. We celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ by giving each other gifts to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. Okay, fine. Jesus Christ's birthday is December 25th. It's not, though. Jesus Christ was actually born in the spring on the holiday. Why do we have April Fool's Day? Hey, I just had a wreck and I broke my leg. April Fools.
I just banged your wife.
April Fools. Hey, honey, I just won the lottery. April Fools. Why do we even have this day? And why is it on April 1st? Well, it's interesting how the fiscal calendar, the fiscal calendar, it begins on April 1st, it ends on March 31st. The fiscal year, is April to April, right? Spring comes in April. The birth of Jesus Christ happened in the spring per the Bible, right? Nonetheless, it got moved to December 25th.
In the cold.
And it got, where everything's dead and it's in the cold. The beginning of the year got moved to January 1st, right? And now it became a highly commercialized event where it's just become ridiculous. And then we have the story of Santa, and money is supposed to be the root of all evil, like Hollywood, and fame is the devil, right? Then you also have like money and all these things and debt. What a greater time of debt than Christmas, where you literally go into debt to give people gifts. It's a fucking farce. Go to the Christmas markets in Germany and Europe. I mean, dude, when I used to live in Germany, I'm telling you, like, there's nothing like Christmas markets.
And there is something to be said about the idea, the concept of it that is exciting. It's fun. Have you seen the dude from Stranger Things in that movie, One Violent Night, where he's sitting as a fucking badass and fucking murders all. He was like you haven't seen it? Yeah, the dude who plays the cop in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
What's his fucking name? He plays the sheriff.
Okay.
That's in all. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Well, he's in. He plays Santa Claus.
Oh, okay.
And he's like a drunk. Is delivering presents to this like wealthy fucking just names that who own fucking everything, Worthington, whatever. I don't know who the fuck they were. Anyway, and it's like a hostage situation where these fucking like organized thieves are fucking trying to steal like all this money that's in this fucking house.
Yeah.
And Santa goes straight fucking ham.
Yeah.
Just murdering all these fucks.
I love it.
Oh, it's fucking funny. But he's a complete drunk. He's like pissing off of his sled onto people, like throwing
That's
up, and it's like
crazy.
hitting. It's like Bad Santa. You ever see Bad Santa?
Yeah. That's a great movie.
Fucking awesome.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh, it's great. I love it all. Ben H has a sound that motivates him. Ben, what you got?
I think that we all have to find something to be grateful for at this time of year. And I think that in and of itself is a blessing. If you can't find something to be grateful for, you can just go outside. And going outside, looking at the crisp blue sky, maybe the beautiful snow falling on the
leaves
ground.
falling off the trees.
Maybe you're in the mountains and you can look at the mountaintops.
Get a brisk
Just
air,
nature.
Fill your lungs.
Yes.
If you enjoy
Look at
that,
birds.
look at birds.
How could you not? I mean, ultimately, I think as people, we just enjoy being outside. Something that I enjoy is cars. I had an opportunity. We may have talked about this.
We
in a
did. We
previous
talked
show.
about it. You went above and beyond for your client.
Yes.
And in return for making the deal happen and sacrificing things on your end.
Yes.
I believe the lender sacrificed.
Everybody.
Everybody was losing.
Everybody was just chopping their toes off.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Your client rewarded you with an evening in a beautiful car of your choice.
Yeah,
Now,
a
you
Lambo.
finished telling the story. Yes.
I picked the Lambo. He said Lambo or Ferrari. I said, I want the Lambo. The thing that captured me the most, because I'm a driving enthusiast. I like sports cars. I like dirt bikes. I like four-wheelers. I like trucks. I like anything you can drive, and I like to drive it aggressively. Jet skis.
He likes to race from red light to red light.
I just like to go.
Yes.
I like to kick ass and go fast.
Right. Yeah.
This particular car captured me in a way that no other car I've driven has. And I've driven a lot of different cars. I've owned some great cars. I've driven a lot of cars. But there's just something about a Lambo. And it's how low it is. It's how wide it is. It's the shape of the windows.
It's the ass of it.
It's just the look of it. But really more than anything is the sound of it. It's just exciting. And
Which is why you can't get that in an electric car. An electric car, some of them are fast as fuck.
they're faster than anything.
But you can't fucking hear it for nothing.
And I got to tell you, the more and more I think about driving this thing, the more and more I want to do it again. And it's actually driving me to set bigger goals and to go after bigger things and to believe in my own ability and ability to put things together in a way that I hadn't previously thought of. Maybe I started getting a little bit down. Maybe I started thinking about, maybe selling things to get money. And, now I'm thinking about selling things to get money. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
so this would be your happy place.
Well, it's just another goal. And the goal is circling around this sound. And I just want to say that sometimes shallow goals can drive you to great things. Sometimes all you have is the thought. the only thing that rings in your mind is the sound of the Lambo. That's okay.
It's like the eye of the tiger.
That's okay. Want for that. Thirst for it.
Whatever that is in your life.
Whatever that is in your life.
In this case,
the sound of the Lambo.
Oh, the
So
sound.
I just wanted to bring to the audience the sound of a Lambo. This is off of a social media
now
clip
this
that I
doesn't
found and
have to
saved.
get you hot and horny like it does Ben.
Yeah.
Ben is throbbing right now.
It's a level of individual freedom. I just want to drive one of these things through Switzerland. But here's the sound of a Lambo. This is the Aventador.
God dang. Is that shooting fire out of it?
Yeah, it is. Here goes another one. This one's passing.
God. And listen, I have a car. Oh, hear it again. What the fuck? Now,
the sound of a Lambo.
now I have a
The
car.
episode
Like my last two cars have sounded very good.
Yeah.
Not quite like that.
oh, there's just nothing like it.
But my new car, I guess
it's
you call
awesome.
it a classic car. It's got, it shakes.
It's got
whoa,
ass.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
It
It's a
doesn't
hot
have
rod.
that sound. That is that is a sound that is conducive to a Lambo.
It's just
and
crazy.
I get excited when I hear that.
Me too.
Because I
Doesn't
love.
it just want you? It makes me want to chase greatness because I know the only way I'm ever going to be able to attain one of those things is to become personally great.
in business. It's not doesn't mean you're personally great as being a person, which
No.
you are in general. So I don't think you have anything to worry about there. But it's all how you define greatness.
Well, I would say if someone, let's say, wanted to, I don't know, buy a Lambo.
For the ManFUzed Podcast.
Yeah, or for themselves. I'm just saying, if someone...
for the ManFUzed Podcast.
I like that idea. But
Go fund Ben and Kay Lee's
Yeah.
Lambo fund.
What color would you get if you could just order
What color
one?
would we get?
Yeah, if we could just order
I
one.
don't know, that baby blue. But you know what? A matte black would be nasty.
I agree
too.
on matte black.
Matte black. Matte black
Done.
anything is just nasty.
Yeah, but especially matte black Lambos.
I remember
mean,
I had a matte black Chevelle. And dude, matte black.
No, I already chose one. It's
Oh.
funny. It's funny that you say that.
It's funny you say that because I have the one I want right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Now, would you get the Huracan? Is that how you pronounce it?
I think I'd have to. It's just too practical. The Aventador is the big, nasty one.
That one's even more expensive.
Oh, it's like 700 grand.
Oh, God.
You know, but which it's bigger, it's better, it's faster, it's also the Huracan though. I mean, it's basically an Audi. Your wife could get in it and drive it. Like it's easy to drive, or you could go into Corsa mode and you could make it as much of a race car as you want. It's a lot less expensive, it's much more attainable. They're a couple $100 grand, not 700 grand. I mean, and it's more approachable. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I'd go after a Huracan.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So find the sound that gets you motivated. You know what? You know what is just as good of a sound as that, though, Ben?
What?
And it's kind of a double-edged sword because the opposite sound drives me through the fucking wall,
Yeah.
which would be my kids whining
Yeah.
and complaining. The sound of my kids belly laughing, like my 3-year-old,
Yes.
is one of the best sounds in the world. Whether it be the sound of the Lambo,
Me too.
whether it be the sound of your kids laughing in pure enjoyment, the sound of you writing that big check for the house that you want,
Here it
the
is.
sound of the judge hitting his gavel going, innocent. Whatever the sound is, find your sound that motivates you.
It could be anything, but make a shallow goal for yourself. What I mean by shallow is something that maybe you really would like to have. That's maybe
you don't need.
You don't need it. It's a little outside of your reach. It might be considered ostentatious,
but it makes you.
But it would
go.
just. Oh yeah.
It makes you pick up that phone.
It
makes you pick up that phone for that last call when you fucking don't feel like making it.
Yeah. Have a goal that makes you better.
Put it on a shiny thing.
And honestly, another thing.
It doesn't really matter what your goal is that makes you stretch. You're stretching for that goal.
Yeah, and start thinking about it now.
It's about to be 2024.
2024. I don't know about you, but in every way, it's grind time, right?
New Year's
every
resolutions.
Business is brutal right now.
Everyone's
the
setting their
sucking ass.
Everyone's setting their budgets for 2024.
Yeah. It's an election year, the craziest election we've ever seen. How are you going to become better? How are you going to become the person that you see yourself becoming amidst all the chaos and in spite of all the bullshit?
We're all chasing that carrot
anyways.
In front of us. Is it a gold carrot?
Is
it a fucking...
Is it just living another day?
Which, that could be a good goal too, though.
There's got to be something.
Yeah.
You got to make a decision about what to be excited about, because otherwise it's easier to be pessimistic. I have to convince myself to be optimistic. Pessimism is easy. It's just there.
Hey, thanks for listening to the ManFUzed Podcast. As always, join the show, share the show, hit us up, manfused.com, 770-744-5227. Thank you for listening.
Good night to all.
Good night to all.
Foo Media.
If you are a business owner, you understand the headache marketing can be, right? Our team at Pioneer Podcasting makes it so easy. Podcasts increase visibility in a way that won't hurt your bottom line. Drive results for your business. Visit advertiseonpodcast.com and fill out the contact form to get started advertising on shows like ManFUzed. Let us help you get rid of that irritating marketing headache. Find out more at advertiseonpodcast.com.